I arrived at Sophia's wedding with a small velvet box in my pocket and a lie in my heart. I kept telling myself, I'm only here to give her one final gift. But I knew the truth. I still loved her. The ballroom glittered with crystal lights, expensive flowers, and people whose names appeared in business magazines. I felt out of place in my simple black suit. Then the music changed. Everyone turned toward the entrance. Sophia walked in beside Adrian Blackwood. I had seen Adrian's face in newspapers. Billionaire heir. Future chairman of Blackwood Holdings. The man every family in the city wanted their daughter to marry. I watched Sophia smile at him. My chest tightened. She really chose him, I whispered. I almost left. Then Sophia looked across the room and saw me. Her smile disappeared. She leaned toward Adrian and said something I could not hear. A moment later, they walked straight toward me. Sophia stopped in front of me. Ethan, why are you here? I swallowed. I wanted to give you something. You already gave me enough trouble. I'm not here to cause trouble. Then why didn't you listen when I told you to move on? I looked at her wedding dress. I tried. She crossed her arms. Tried. Yes. And I lowered my eyes for a moment. I couldn't. Sophia sighed impatiently. Ethan, today is my wedding day. Please don't make this about you. I know. Then leave. I touched the velvet box inside my pocket. I just wanted to give you this. She shook her head. I don't want anything from you. I forced a small smile. It's not a request. It's goodbye. She stared at me. For 1 second, I thought I saw sadness in her eyes. Then she laughed. Goodbye? You still sound like you think there's something between us. There isn't. Then why are you standing here looking at me like that? Because I loved her. I could not say it. But she already knew. You still love me, don't you? She asked. My silence answered for me. Sophia laughed again, louder this time. Several nearby guests turned toward us. Oh, Ethan, she said. After everything, you're still doing this? I clenched my fists. I'm not asking you to come back. Really? Then what are you doing here? Giving you a final gift. You should give it to someone who cares. Her words cut deeper than I expected. I looked at Adrian. He had remained silent, watching me carefully. Sophia turned toward a group of her friends. Look who still loves me, she said with a mocking smile. He actually came to my wedding hoping I would change my mind. One woman covered her mouth. Another whispered, That's pathetic. My face burned, but I refused to beg. I looked at Sophia and said quietly, I loved you for years. I won't pretend that disappeared overnight. But I won't humiliate myself by begging you to choose me. Her smile faded slightly. I continued, You made your choice. I accepted. I pulled the velvet box from my pocket. This was supposed to be yours. Sophia stared at it. Then she looked away. Keep it. I nodded. Fine. I turned to leave. Then Adrian suddenly spoke. Ethan Cole. I stopped. His voice sounded different now. Not mocking. Not angry. Almost shocked. I slowly turned around. Adrian stared at me as if he had just seen a ghost. Is that really you? The music stopped. The conversations died. Every face in the ballroom turned toward me. Sophia's eyes widened. I looked at Adrian. Yes, I said. Adrian took one step forward. Then he whispered, What are you doing here? I frowned. I told you. I came to say goodbye. He shook his head. You don't understand. His expression had completely changed. This isn't about Sophia. The entire wedding fell silent. I could not breathe. I stood frozen as Adrian stared at me. Sophia quickly stepped between us. Adrian, please. Ethan is nobody important. Adrian looked at her. Move. She blinked. What? I said move. Sophia slowly stepped aside. Adrian walked toward me. Ethan Cole, he said again. Do you remember me? I frowned. I'm sorry, but I don't. Think harder. I've met thousands of people. Not me. He stopped in front of me. Do you remember a boy from your old neighborhood? About 10 years ago. My expression changed. A boy. There was an accident outside a small grocery store. A car hit a streetlight. A boy was trapped nearby. I stared at him. Then something clicked. The blue jacket. Adrian smiled. Yes. You were that boy. I was. I looked at him in disbelief. You survived. You saved me. The ballroom became completely silent. Adrian continued. I was 12. I was terrified. I couldn't find my family. Everyone kept walking past me. I remember. You stayed. You were hurt. You had no money. I didn't have much. You had one coat. I looked down. Adrian laughed softly. You gave it to me. It was freezing. And you stayed beside me until my parents arrived. I shook my head. I barely remember. I remember everything. His voice became quieter. My parents spent years trying to find you. I looked at him. Why? Because you disappeared before they could thank you. I didn't do anything special. You saved my life. I just stayed with a scared kid. That scared kid was me. Sophia suddenly spoke. Adrian, this is ridiculous. You can't seriously believe. I don't believe it. He looked at her. I know it. Sophia's face tightened. Adrian turned back toward me. My family searched for the stranger who helped me that night. We never found you. I wasn't trying to be found. Why? Because I didn't expect anything. He studied me. That is exactly why I respect you. Sophia looked uncomfortable. One of her friends whispered, You said he was pathetic. Sophia shot her a warning look. I ignored them. Adrian asked, What have you been doing since then? Working. Where? I run a small consulting firm. I've heard about your work. I frowned. You have? Yes. Your recent project caught my attention. That project wasn't very big. It solved a problem 3 larger firms couldn't solve. I didn't know what to say. Adrian continued, I want to discuss a business project with you. Sophia gave a nervous laugh. Adrian, you're only being polite. He looked at her coldly. I'm not. But Ethan isn't. Qualified. She stopped. Adrian smiled. That's exactly why I want him. I felt everyone watching me. I looked at Sophia. She looked embarrassed now. Not angry. Embarrassed. I remembered her words from minutes earlier. You're nobody important. I almost laughed. Instead, I said, I appreciate the offer. Adrian nodded. Then we'll talk tomorrow. I looked toward the doors. I should go. Sophia suddenly stepped forward. Ethan. I stopped. She lowered her voice. Don't make this bigger than it is. I turned around. What do you mean? Adrian is helping you because he feels grateful. Don't misunderstand that. I stared at her. Then I smiled. You were right about one thing. She looked confused. What? I should stop chasing you. Her lips parted. I continued. I spent years trying to prove I was worthy of your love. I shook my head. I don't want to do that anymore. Sophia whispered, Ethan. I turned toward the exit. One step, then another. I was almost outside when Adrian's voice stopped me. Don't leave yet. I turned. Adrian looked directly at me. I need you. Those 4 words silenced the entire room again. And for the first time that night, I wondered if my life had just changed forever. I left the wedding before the ceremony began. I didn't look back. Outside, the cold air hit my face, but it felt better than standing inside that ballroom. My phone rang the next morning. Ethan Cole. Adrian. I want to discuss the project. I already said I appreciate your offer. You didn't accept it. Because I think you're helping me out of guilt. There was silence. Then Adrian said, Come to my office. I don't think that's necessary. Then listen carefully. His voice became serious. I don't give opportunities to people I don't respect. I stayed quiet. You helped me when you had nothing, he continued. You didn't ask for money. You didn't ask for recognition. You simply helped. That was years ago. And I remember it. I don't need repayment. This isn't repayment. It's business. What exactly do you want? I want you to help develop a struggling Blackwood project. I've never worked on something that large. You're capable. I hesitated. Think about it. I will. After the call ended, I immediately called Daniel. You're telling me Adrian Blackwood personally offered you a job? It's a project position. That's even better. I think he's doing it because of what happened years ago. Daniel laughed. You saved his life. Now he wants to work with you. That's not charity. I don't know. Ethan, when are you going to stop thinking you're not good enough? I said nothing. Daniel sighed. Take the opportunity. I'll consider it. You'd better. That afternoon, I accepted. Then my phone started buzzing. Sophia, are you angry with me? I stared at the message. Another arrived. Why did Adrian call you? I locked my phone. 5 minutes later. What does he want from you? I didn't answer. Then, Ethan, I'm asking you seriously. I put my phone away. I had spent years answering every question Sophia asked. Not anymore. At Blackwood Holdings, I received the project files. Mia, one of the financial analysts, sat beside me. You're Ethan, right? Yes. Adrian said you'd be reviewing the project records. I am. She handed me a folder. These are the latest financial reports. I opened it. At first, everything looked normal. Revenue, expenses, supplier payments, consulting fees. Then I noticed something strange. What's this contract? Mia leaned closer. Which one? This consulting agreement. She checked the document. It's listed as an outside service. Why is the payment so high? She frowned. I don't know. I opened another file. The same company appeared again. Different contract. Different department. Same payment pattern. Mia, find every transaction connected to this company. She stared at me. You think something is wrong? I don't know yet. We spent hours comparing records. Then I found another company. Then another. 3 companies. For contracts. The same strange pattern. Money was moving through fake-looking agreements. I leaned back. Someone is hiding something. Mia looked worried. Should we tell Adrian? Not yet. Why? Because I want proof. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about Sophia. I wasn't wondering whether she missed me. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was simply doing my job. And strangely, I felt good. That evening, Mia handed me another document. I found something. I scanned the page. Then I froze. What? She pointed at the signature. I knew that name. I read it again. My stomach tightened. This can't be right. Mia looked at me. Do you know him? I slowly nodded. Yes. Who is he? I swallowed. Sophia's father. Mia's eyes widened. You're sure? I've seen his signature before. I stared at the contract. The woman I had loved was getting married to Adrian. Now her father was connected to a financial scheme inside Blackwood. I closed the folder. For the first time, I understood something. Walking away from Sophia hadn't ended our story. It had only opened a much bigger one. I spent the next 3 days pretending everything was normal. Who couldn't accept that Sophia married? At Blackwood Holdings, I reviewed contracts, attended meetings, and answered questions. But every night, I returned to the same documents. Richard Coleman's signature appeared on 4 suspicious contracts. The companies receiving the money barely existed. I asked Mia quietly, "Can you trace their registration records?" She nodded. Already did. 2 addresses are empty offices. And the other 2? Mailboxes. So they're fake. Looks that way. I lowered my voice. Don't tell anyone yet. Mia frowned. You think someone inside Blackwood is involved? I think someone is trying very hard to make these payments look legitimate. That evening, I found Richard's office address and went there alone. He looked surprised when I entered. Ethan. Mr. Coleman. He closed his file. What do you want? I want answers. About what? I placed copies of the contracts on his desk. These. His face changed for half a second. Then he laughed. You're investigating me? I'm investigating financial irregularities. You're just an employee. I'm working on the project. You should know your place. I stared at him. My place is wherever the truth leads me. Richard stood. People like you always think you're entitled to more than you have. I kept my voice calm. Why did your company receive money through these contracts? My company earned it. For what? Business services. What services? He slammed his hand against the desk. You're nobody. I didn't move. Richard pointed toward the door. Sophia married Adrian because she deserves a better life. She deserves wealth, security, and status. I looked at him. Is that what you told her? It's the truth. No, I said. It's what you taught her to believe. His expression hardened. I left before the argument became worse. 2 hours later, Sophia contacted me. Can we meet? I don't think that's a good idea. Please, Ethan. We met at a quiet cafe. She sat across from me, looking tired. Are you trying to destroy my family? No. Then why are you investigating my father? Because his name is on suspicious contracts. You don't understand. Then explain it. She looked away. You're becoming obsessed. I'm following evidence. You promised to protect me. I felt something inside me break. I did. Then stop. I shook my head. I just didn't promise to protect your lies. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. You think I'm lying? I think you believe what you've been told. She whispered. I chose Adrian because I thought I needed someone better. Better than me? She hesitated. I don't know. Then why did you marry him? Because he can give me everything. I looked at her. And can he make you happy? She didn't answer. Finally, she said, sometimes I regret leaving you. My heart tightened. Sometimes. Yes. I waited. But Adrian is still the better choice. That sentence hurt more than her laughter at the wedding. I nodded slowly. I understand. Ethan. No. I finally understand. I looked at her and realized something painful. She didn't regret losing me. She regretted losing the man I might become. I stood. You made your choice. She wiped her tears. I never wanted to hurt you. You did. I'm sorry. I know. I left the cafe without looking back. That night, Mia called. Ethan, I found something. I answered immediately. What? One of the companies connected to your father-in-law has another connection. To whom? Blackwood Holdings. My stomach tightened. Which department? Executive Finance. I went silent. Are you sure? Yes. Send me everything. She did. I opened the files. A name appeared repeatedly. Someone inside Adrian's family had approved payments connected to Richard. I stared at the screen. Richard wasn't working alone. Someone in the Blackwood family was secretly helping him. And whoever it was had access to everything. I knew I had to be careful. If I accused the wrong person, I could lose my job and destroy Adrian's trust. But if I stayed silent, the scheme would continue. I copied the records onto a secure drive and locked the originals away. Whatever happened next, I wanted evidence strong enough that nobody could dismiss me as a jealous ex. I met Adrian in his private office and placed the secure drive on his desk. I found something, I said. He inserted the drive. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Then Adrian's expression hardened. These accounts belong to my uncle. Thomas Blackwood? Yes. I nodded. Richard's companies received money through accounts Thomas controlled. Adrian stood. I'm confronting him. Not yet. He stole from my company. And if you confront him without enough proof, he'll destroy the evidence. Adrian looked at me. You're right. I need time. How much? Enough to prove exactly where the money went. Adrian sat down again. Then we do this carefully. But Thomas already knew. The next morning, my name appeared across several business websites. The headlines claimed I had manipulated Adrian. One article said I was using an old childhood connection to gain access to Blackwood Holdings. Another called me a greedy opportunist. My phone exploded with messages. Daniel called first. Ethan, have you seen this? Yes. Thomas is behind it. I know. You should sue them. Not yet. Why not? Because I want the person who started this to feel safe. Daniel laughed bitterly. You're becoming dangerous. I'm becoming patient. Then Sophia called. Ethan, what is happening? You tell me. I saw the articles. They're lies. Are they? Her question hurt. I stayed silent. She continued. Did you really use Adrian to get rich? No. Then why does everyone say you did? Because someone wants you to believe it. She breathed slowly. I remembered something. What? You used to work 3 jobs. I said nothing. You worked mornings at the warehouse, evenings at the restaurant, and weekends delivering packages. I needed money. You still helped me pay my university fees. I loved you. You never told me how tired you were. There was no reason to. Sophia became quiet. I thought you had nothing to offer me. You chose Adrian. I know. Her voice shook. I'm starting to wonder whether I chose wrong. I closed my eyes. Don't say that now. Why? Because I don't want you questioning your marriage, because my life is changing. She whispered. Maybe I should have questioned it before. I can't answer that. We ended the call. Daniel and Mia helped me for the next 2 days. Mia found altered invoices. Daniel traced shell companies. I connected every transaction. Finally, we had enough. But I wanted one more piece. That piece came from Thomas himself. He asked me to meet privately. I arrived at an empty conference room. Thomas placed an envelope on the table. $5 million. I stared at it. What is this? Your exit. I'm not leaving. You should. Why? Because you're walking into a war you cannot win. I pushed the envelope back. I don't want your money. Thomas smiled. Everyone wants money. Not enough to sell my silence. His smile disappeared. You have no idea who you're challenging. I know exactly who. You'll lose your job. Maybe. Your business. Maybe. Your reputation. I've survived worse. Thomas leaned closer. I can destroy your life. I looked directly into his eyes. You already taught me what losing everything feels like. I'm not afraid anymore. His face went pale. Neither of us noticed the small recording device Adrian had hidden nearby. Thomas stood. You're making a mistake. No. I turned toward the door. For the first time, I'm making my own choice. Outside, Adrian waited. He held up his phone. Got everything. I stared at the screen. Thomas had just confessed. Adrian smiled coldly. Now we finish this. I nodded. But as we walked away, my phone vibrated. A message appeared from Sophia. Ethan, I need to see you. I know something about my father. I stopped walking. Adrian looked at me. What is it? I showed him the message. His expression changed. Then tomorrow could be the day everything falls apart. I looked back at the conference room. For years, I had believed my biggest mistake was loving Sophia too much. Now I understood that my real mistake had been believing powerful people could never be exposed. Thomas had money, influence, and connections, but evidence could take all three away. I was ready to fight. The next morning, chaos exploded inside Blackwood Holdings. Adrian called me before sunrise. Ethan, Thomas made his move. What happened? He created fake losses and blamed me for them. How much? Hundreds of millions. I grabbed my laptop. Send me everything. By the time I reached the office, employees were shouting in the hallways. Adrian stood inside the boardroom. My uncle is trying to take control. I opened the evidence. Then we expose him first. I connected the transaction records to Thomas's accounts. These payments prove the losses were manufactured. Adrian stared at the screen. This is enough. Not yet. I pointed toward another file. Richard is involved too. Adrian frowned. Your father-in-law? Yes. Before we could continue, Richard entered. You can't accuse me without proof. I turned the laptop toward him. 4 fake contracts. His face went pale. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Richard looked at Adrian. Thomas made mistakes, but you can't destroy him. Why are you protecting him? Adrian asked. Richard stayed silent. I answered for him. Because if Thomas falls, Richard falls with him. Richard glared at me. You're ruining everything. No, you did that yourself. Adrian called the board members. Within hours, the evidence was everywhere. Thomas's accounts, Richard's contracts, fake companies, hidden payments. The truth finally came out. But Sophia wasn't there. She found out later. That evening, I received a message. Asterisk, I know what my father did. Please, asterisk. I agreed to meet her. Before she came, I saw her confronting Richard outside his office. Dad, tell me the truth. Richard looked exhausted. I did what I thought was best. You helped create fake contracts. I was protecting you. From what? From a life with Ethan. Sophia froze. Richard continued. He couldn't give you the life you deserved. You mean money. I mean security. You thought I needed a billionaire husband? Yes. Sophia began crying. And did Adrian make me happy? Richard said nothing. She wiped her tears. You destroyed everything because you were ashamed of Ethan. I wanted better for you. You wanted richer. She walked away. Later, Sophia met me. Her eyes were red. I'm sorry. I said nothing. For the wedding. You don't have to explain. I do. She looked down. I humiliated you in front of everyone. Yes. I was ashamed of your ordinary life. I looked at her. Why? Because I forgot who you were before money entered the picture. I stayed quiet. She continued. You worked 3 jobs. You helped me finish university. You never complained. I remember. I thought Adrian's money would make everything better. Did it? She shook her head. No. I could see how much she regretted her choices. I was wrong, Ethan. I know. I miss you. Those words would once have destroyed me. Now they didn't. I forgive you. She looked up. Does that mean we can try again? I shook my head. No. Her eyes filled with tears. Why? Because forgiveness doesn't erase what happened. I can change. I believe you. Then why? I took a slow breath. Because I loved you when you had nothing. She looked at me. I continued. You only loved me when you thought I could give you something. Sophia cried silently. I didn't hate her. I didn't want revenge. I simply couldn't return to the person I had been. She whispered, Is there really no chance? I shook my head. I hope you find happiness. With Adrian? With yourself. She nodded through her tears. As she walked away, I realized something. For years, I had thought losing Sophia was the greatest tragedy of my life. Now I understood. Losing myself for her had been the real tragedy. And finally, I had found my way back. I stood beside Adrian beneath a wall of cameras. Reporters filled the Blackwood conference hall. Everyone wanted answers. Adrian stepped toward the microphones. Today, Blackwood Holdings will reveal the truth about the financial fraud that nearly destroyed this company. A reporter shouted, Was Thomas Blackwood responsible? Adrian nodded. Yes. Another asked, Was Richard Coleman involved? Yes. The room erupted. I remained silent. Adrian continued. Both men used fake contracts, hidden accounts, and false losses to manipulate company funds. Screens behind us displayed the evidence. The same evidence I had spent nights collecting. A reporter pointed toward me. Who is that man? Adrian looked at me. Then he smiled. This is Ethan Cole. Cameras immediately turned toward me. Adrian continued. He discovered the financial irregularities and helped expose the people responsible. I heard whispers spreading through the crowd. Then Adrian said something I never expected. But Ethan isn't merely an employee. I looked at him. Adrian faced the cameras. 10 years ago, I was a 12-year-old boy trapped after an accident. Ethan stayed with me through a freezing night, gave me his only coat, and refused to leave until my family arrived. The room became silent. He saved my life. I lowered my eyes. Adrian continued. My family spent years searching for him. A reporter asked, and now? Adrian smiled. Now I'm giving him the position he earned through his own ability. He turned toward me. Ethan Cole will lead our new Blackwood Development Division. Applause filled the hall. I couldn't move. Mia smiled from the side. Daniel was watching the broadcast from his phone. But I wasn't thinking about money. I wasn't thinking about Sophia. I wasn't thinking about the people who had mocked me. I was thinking about the man I used to be. The man who had stood at Sophia's wedding feeling worthless. That man was gone. After the conference, I walked through the Blackwood headquarters beside Adrian. Employees greeted me. Some looked surprised. Some looked embarrassed. I recognized several faces from Sophia's wedding. One man who had laughed when she called me pathetic suddenly lowered his eyes. I almost smiled. Not because I had beaten him, because I no longer cared what he thought. Sophia was waiting near the entrance. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. Ethan. I stopped. Congratulations. Thank you. She looked toward the building. You really did it. No. She frowned. Didn't you? I didn't do this to prove anything to you. I know. She wiped her tears. I finally understand why you stopped chasing me. I said nothing. You weren't trying to punish me. No. You were trying to find yourself. I nodded. That's right. She smiled sadly. I wish I had understood sooner. Maybe. Do you hate me? No. Do you still love me? I paused. Part of me always will. Her eyes filled with tears. But your life isn't waiting for me anymore. No. She nodded. I understand. I looked at her. I hope you find happiness, Sophia. She whispered. I hope you do too. She walked away. I watched her disappear into the crowd. Mia approached quietly. You okay? Yes. Really? I smiled. For the first time, yes. She looked at me. You should be proud of yourself. I laughed softly. I'm trying. No. She shook her head. You should be. I looked through the glass doors at the city outside. For years, I had measured my worth through Sophia's eyes. If she loved me, I felt valuable. If she rejected me, I felt worthless. Now I finally understood. My worth had never belonged to her. It belonged to me. Adrian walked over. Ready for your first day as division head? I smiled. Ready. He extended his hand. I shook it. Then I walked beside him into the headquarters. The same people who once watched me leave a wedding in humiliation now watched me enter Blackwood as a leader. But their reactions no longer mattered. I wasn't rising for them. I was rising for myself. I stood on the top floor of Blackwood Holdings and looked through the glass at the city below. Months had passed since Sophia's wedding. My division was growing faster than I expected. We had completed 3 major projects, hired talented young people, and started a scholarship program for students from poor families who had talent but lacked opportunities. Sometimes, I still remembered that wedding. I remembered standing there with a gift in my pocket, hoping Sophia would look at me differently. I remembered her laughing. I remembered feeling worthless. Now, when I thought about that man, I didn't hate him. I felt sorry for him. He had loved someone so much that he forgot to love himself. My phone rang. Adrian said, Are you coming to the meeting? In 5 minutes. You've been saying that for 20 minutes. I was thinking, that sounds dangerous. I laughed. Go without me. Never. You're the division head. I'll be there. Our partnership had become more than business. Adrian trusted my judgment, and I trusted his. Mia had become someone I trusted too. She entered my office holding a folder. Scholarship applications. I smiled. How many? 300. That many. You told everyone talent matters more than money. I did. Then you created a problem. I laughed. Let's solve it. We spent the evening reviewing applications. That was my new life. Quiet. Busy. Mine. Meanwhile, Sophia had walked away from her family's business world. She ended her relationship with Adrian and began rebuilding her life independently. Richard faced legal consequences for his role in the fake contracts. Thomas lost his position and was prosecuted for the crimes he had committed. I never celebrated their downfall. I had wanted the truth, not their suffering. One evening, Sophia asked to meet me one final time. We sat across from each other at the same quiet cafe where she had once asked whether I was trying to destroy her family. She looked different, calmer. I heard about your scholarship program, she said. I hope it helps people. It will. We were silent for a moment. Then she said, I used to think marrying a billionaire would prove that I had won. I looked at her. Won what? Life. I said nothing. She lowered her eyes. I thought money would make everyone respect me. Did it? No. She smiled sadly. I lost myself instead. I took a slow breath. You found yourself again. Not completely. You will. She looked at me. Do you ever regret loving me? I thought about the question. Sometimes I regret how much I lost myself. She nodded. But I don't regret loving you. Her eyes became wet. I loved you too. I know. I just didn't understand what love meant. I looked at her. Love isn't supposed to make a person beg for respect. She wiped away a tear. I wish I had learned that earlier. So do I. She smiled faintly. Are you happy now? I looked through the window. Yes. Without me? Yes. She nodded. That hurts. I know. But I'm glad. I stood. Sophia stood too. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Sophia. She walked away. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel victorious. I simply felt free. Outside, the city lights stretched across the horizon. I remembered the old code I had given Adrian that freezing night. Back then, I thought I was simply helping a frightened child. I never imagined that small choice would return to change my entire life. But I understood something now. Kindness did not need a reward. The reward was becoming the man I could respect when I finally looked at myself. To feel worthy. I remembered the man who had walked into Sophia's wedding believing his life was ending. He had been wrong. That day had not ended my life. It had ended the version of me who believed my worth depended on someone else's choice. I had lost Sophia. I had lost the life I imagined. But I had found something better. My own future. I smiled as the lights reflected against the glass. My greatest victory was never making Sophia regret leaving me. It was becoming someone who no longer needed her to stay.